Hey, this is Stevie Breach from Sacramento, California, and you're watching Takeover TV.
What is up, friends? Takeover peeps, random person coming across this video, however you got here. I'm so happy to have you. Thank you for hanging out with me. It's time for another weekly wrap-up. This past weekend, I went to Vegas for a little bit, joined some friends there, hung out. It was a good time, ate great food. I'm not really a gambler, kind of wandered around the casino, not really my thing so much. Threw like $20 at a slot and called it a day. Came out 75 cents on top, walked away, good to go. Anyways, what I have the most fun doing there is trying all the food, just walking around, people watching, spending the day outside, and going to shows. The shows there are super cool. And I went to some cool ones. I went to a show called Absinthe that is pretty juggling centric. A lot of my friends are jugglers. It was really cool. Some of my friends are actually in the show, so that was really nice to see them and hang out. I also went to Ka, the Cirque du Soleil show. That was also really neat. The engineering behind it was just outstanding. To be honest, the story was a little hard to follow, but that's also the nature of a lot of Cirque du Soleil shows, at least the ones that I've seen. But there were just some things they pulled off, the way that they moved the stage. The stage was moving. Sometimes it would be completely flat, sometimes it would be standing straight up, and people would still be doing their thing on the stage. They're dangling by things with a huge net below, obviously. Terrifyingly cool. But I digress. I also went to this place called Omega Mart at Area 15. It was one of the most fun things I did that weekend. It is this good job, Dan. It's this surreal, futuristic, dark supermarket, and you walk in and it looks like a grocery store, but things are just a little bit off. All the items are different. They're kind of alternative universe titles of things kind of weird. And the workers are going around and they're chipper, but then you start to notice they're acting a little bit weird. And then you find out that there's this mystery tied into this, and you need to go on an adventure and figure it out. So you go to the front, you wander around, you get this card. This gave me access everywhere behind the scenes. You walk up to this one freezer full of soda. You open the door and you realize it's a hallway. And you walk in back, and there's a huge room. But it's not just that room. All of a sudden, you're going through floors and floors of rooms and adventures to go on, and you figure out there's a little bit of mystery tied to this thing. In the words of my wife, she said it reminded her a little bit of Bioshock, which is my all-time favorite video game, and that made me even more excited about the situation. It's a little bit of an escape room, but it's more of like a detective thing, piecing together evidence, figuring out what weird things are going on behind this supermarket and what they're doing in their factory. You walk through the factory, you walk through puzzle rooms, you gather data, evidence, information, you watch videos, you hear secrets, you see emails, you log in places and try to figure out information that's hidden from you, all those things. The card was $3. It costs to get in, and then the card to play the game is $3. So it's like once you're in there, you might as well play the game. It's super fun. I'd do it again. I'd probably do it a third time. But even if you just pay the entry fee and walk around without playing the game, the rooms are still cool, super interactive. There's one room that was my favorite where that had nothing to do with the actual storyline. It was just a room to do things in, where it's all dark. There's this kind of glass wall, but then there's an opening you can reach through, and there's lasers shooting up towards the ceiling. And each time you touch a laser, you start to realize that it's a different instrument, and there's about 25 of them. So you can wander around, and the musician in me was walking around figuring out which ones are where, finding the drum pads, finding the synths, finding the other things, and then making a song. And I was proud of myself because as I was doing that, like a crazy guy walking around just hitting all these lasers, this one guy was like, "I'm a music teacher. Are you a musician?" And I was like, "Thank you." Obviously that song was banging. I didn't say that part to him. Also, please clap. I went to the dentist. It's one of my least favorite places to go. I hadn't been there in years, like pre-pandemic shutdown, and somehow your boy has no cavities, so let's go. Look at these bad boys. Question of the day. What is one movie you catch yourself watching over and over that you keep returning to? You don't even need to know why. You don't need to defend it. Just let me know in the comments which video. If you want to let me know why, go ahead. but just tell me the name. For me, it's Forgetting Sarah Marshall. And I'm not trying to defend it, but let me explain why really quick. I will watch it even if you hate it. I think it's hilarious. I think it's funny. I like the storyline. It's light. It's comfortable. I know it well. I don't even need to necessarily look at the screen to know what's going on. And my wife really likes it too, which helps. So we watch it together probably a few times a year, if not more. But it's just a lighthearted comedy. It's got some of my favorite people in it. Big Jason Segel fan, big Kristen Bell fan, big Mila Kunis fan. It's great. I like it a lot. And it's in a setting, I want to go to that when he's like, talks about the Kapua suite. There's so many good one-liners in it. That's the other thing. But now I want to go to Hawaii and stay at that specific place. I want to basically reenact the movie. You know, maybe like minus the cheating part, but everything else. I digress again. Let's get into the wrap up. We have some NFL news that was not on my radar. Did you see who the Ravens signed? Did you see who my favorite team signed? Odell Beckham Jr. Now, I'm not saying that he's a god amongst men at receiver at this point in time, but he is a great receiver. Cleveland was a little rough for him. St. Louis was a little bit, it was okay, you know? Got some postseason magic. He took an entire year off. He did not have a team, so we'll see what happens. Okay, here's the first thing too. They're paying him a lot of money. I think it's like $14 million for 1 year. I don't know that I would pay that, but here's where this all comes into play together. Here's why it's important. This might mean Lamar's staying. I mean, I can't say that he is, but the roller coaster ride this relationship is sending me on is wild. He might still be here. I don't think, you know, Odell in the press conference kind of had to say that he has no certainty from Lamar that he's staying. I just don't think Odell signs here, knowing that like a rookie or maybe Tyler Huntley is the quarterback. I also don't think that the Ravens try to sign him unless they know behind the scenes Lamar is about to reach a deal with them. So that's where I'm most excited. It's less getting Odell. It's more that getting Odell probably means Lamar is staying. And also, I think it's kind of funny that Odell was like rumored to go to New York Jets, and obviously now he's not, and we still haven't heard official word that Aaron Rodgers is going there. Dang. The other promising thing that tells me that Lamar most likely is staying is Lamar immediately made a post after the Odell signing that was a screenshot of a FaceTime call between the two where they both look pretty happy. The NBA started their play-in games for the NBA playoffs. I almost said NFL playoffs. That would be something. NBA play-ins to make the NFL playoffs. And then the basketball teams have to play the football game. That would suck. Anyways, some of them have already happened. My Timberwolves fell to the Lakers in a heartbreaker. I don't know what the heck that was. There are more games going on. By the time you've watched this video, they will have already happened, so bear with me. But right now, we've got the Bulls and Heat trying to make it in, and we've got the Thunder and the Wolves trying to make it in. My hunch is that the Bulls and the Wolves move on. But you can make fun of me in the comments in the future. I mean, I don't see you making any predictions right now because you can't talk to me about it. But you can make fun of me if I'm completely wrong in the comments. I don't care. Fanatics announced that they'll be launching sports cards under the Topps brand name. I don't know exactly what this means, but it's exciting. We'll be seeing those beginning in the 2023-2024 season. Topps has not had basketball cards since 2009 and 10, so it's been a long time, and your boy's excited to see some Topps Chrome again, to be honest. I'm assuming that's one of the products they'll carry on. Speaking of basketball cards, the latest Prism basketball just dropped. Obviously, we're still behind schedule because it's coming to the end of the season, and now we're just getting those rookies there, but you know what? It's starting to catch up a little bit better than it was. I have not ripped any. I don't know that I plan on ripping any, but I will probably look for singles in the future. I wouldn't mind adding some Chet Holmgren since he's a local Minneapolis boy. Pokemon Stadium is officially the newest addition to the N64 Online section of the Nintendo Switch. I'm excited to play it, collect some badges. I'm going to try to get my daughter to play it with me. I'm going to play my friends online that I miss back in Minneapolis. We are going to do some battles with some original Pokemon. In adjacent video game news, I saw the Mario movie last week, and I thought it was really good and packed with nostalgia. I thought that maybe the movie would simply sell itself on the nostalgia and happy memories, and that maybe there was a chance it would end up like not so good, but like it'd make me happy enough. That wasn't even the case. It not only made me happy, but the plot was good too, and I can see that there's going to be future ones coming. It had great music, the graphics were great, the actors in it were great. It had a good sense of humor. Jack Black was a fantastic Bowser. I can't get the Peaches song out of my head. One of my favorite parts, but it was a very minor detail and it happened early in the movie. One of the characters' cell phones went off as they were walking down the street, I think in like the opening. And the ringtone was the opening sound of when you turn on your GameCube. That's like like that thing. That made me so happy automatically. And then it made me want to go play GameCube. We've got some music news. One of my most favorite bands, Balance and Composure, is back out of nowhere. After their final album, Slow Heart, came out in 2017, they played some final shows in 2019, which now we know are not so final. But on Tuesday, I think it was, they dropped 2 new songs out of nowhere. They announced that they're going to be playing 4 shows in the upcoming months. They'll be playing 2 in California, 1 in Philly, and 1 in New York City. And your boy is gunning for the one in New York City. So please send good vibes, thoughts, prayers that I obtain tickets before they sell out to that date, even though we will already know whether or not I got tickets by the time you see this video. Send me like retroactive thoughts from the future to right now, to 10 a.m. specifically on Friday. All right, stuff that slaps. NBA Live 2000 on the N64 in my case. Boy, is this a nostalgic one for me. The graphics are rough, the frame rate isn't great, but the soundtrack bangs and I love playing it. I fired it up just the other weekend and I had so much fun. I probably was smiling the whole time I was playing it if there was a camera on me. I can't explain it. I think it's partially the rosters. I think it's just old sports games are just super fun to play for me. Sometimes more fun than the new stuff. And I like playing the new stuff too, but with the newer ones, there's eventually a time where like I move on from that game and I don't come back. These are the kind of games that I come back to. And once again, it's probably the rosters, but there is something else special about this game and I'll get into that now. This was the first time Michael Jordan was in the NBA Live series. And you know, you get excited about it, you put the cartridge in, you might blow on it first even though you're not supposed to because maybe there's some dust in there. Anyways, you turn on the switch. The Nintendo 64 doesn't turn on the first time even though the red light's on. It doesn't pop up on the screen. You turn it off. You want to hit the reset button, but at this point in time it's your original Nintendo 64 from when you were like 11 and the reset button is jammed down, so you can't do that. So you turn it off again and you turn it on, and then magically the game appears on the screen. The song starts playing, the little pre-video, the hype, the excitement builds. You go on, it immediately brings you into the option to play a game. You go to the Chicago Bulls, you fire up the game. You're excited about the fact that you can use Michael Jordan, and then you start the game and Michael Jordan's not there. The way you get Michael Jordan is you play him in the street mode, one-on-one basketball. You can pick any player from the NBA to go against him, but you have to beat him in superstar mode too, which is freaking impossible sometimes. I immediately went to the one-on-one mode remembering this, and I used Vince Carter. It took me like 17 tries, and I realized that in superstar mode, Michael Jordan is nearly impossible to drive on. Sometimes when you try to drive on him, he defends you so hard that he basically just defends you out of bounds and there's nothing you can do about it. So I learned just shoot threes from the top of the key. Don't even move, really. And just pray that it goes in. And that's what I did through 17 games. The funny thing is I actually beat him the very first time I played it, but then the memory card went bad and I lost my save. So then I had to run to the video game store quick and buy a new video game card. And then that's when it took me 17 tries. So that was great. Anyways, I just shot threes at the top of the key with Vince Carter till I won. Took a lot of tries. And then I got Michael Jordan. And I'm building my happy team on the Minnesota Timberwolves right now. I fired up a season. It might sound really funny to play a season at this point on a game from 23 years ago. That's fine. I'm having fun. I'm putting that time in. You want to know what my roster looks like? You probably don't care. I'm going to tell you anyways. It is Michael Jordan. I brought back Stephon Marbury. I left on certain players like Wally Zerbiak, Malik Sealy, RIP. I think I might still have Dean Garrett on there. Kevin Garnett's on there, obviously, still. Rasho Nestorovic is on there. I traded I cut Will Avery, things like that. I made some moves. Anyways, Stephon Marbury, Michael Jordan, Kevin Garnett. I traded for Ben Wallace because he's my all-time favorite player. However, he's not necessarily good on that game because we didn't know how good Ben Wallace was yet. But I love having him on my team no matter what year it is, so he's there. I got Elton Brand. Love Elton Brand. I also did... So Bobby Jackson is on the team already. And if you know anything about the Minnesota Gophers around the years just before that, they had quite the super team. They were doing really well, but ultimately they lost to Kentucky. They didn't win in the March Madness tournament, but also that was erased due to a cheating scandal on tests. That's besides the point right now. I put all those players back together. So I traded for John Thomas, I traded for Quincy Lewis, and I traded for Sam Jacobson. So that coming off the bench, it's basically that Minnesota Gophers starting lineup almost. Anyways, I'm having so much fun doing it. I'm excited. I'm going to play a game of that again later today when I'm done with work, after I hop on the takeover. Super fun for me. NBA Live 2000 Certified Slapper. Music picks. I'm going to go with an easy one for me this week. I'm going to bounce right back to music news that you heard a little bit ago. I'm going to go with the new Balance and Composure release. Balance and Composure released Too Quick to Forgive, which only hosts 2 songs. The songs Last to Know and Savior Mode. Both really do it for me. They sound like a mix of their... Actually, it sounds like there's a little bit of aspect from every album they've released in my mind. Mainly the first 2. Well, I guess they had other releases before that, but the big 2. But then there's a little bit of the ones following that too. I'm excitedly hoping for more songs, but for now I will listen to these 2 songs over and over. If you haven't heard Balance before, they're a really nice blend of a lot of music that I enjoy. It's like Nirvana does emo, or emo does Nirvana. I don't know which way you want to put it. It's grunge gaze, it's emo gaze. They got shoegaze, grunge, emo, post-hardcore, indie rock. It's like all meshed together, and I drink it up. For me, it's the perfect blend. My next music pick, we're throwing it back to the 70s with the song Got to Be Real by Cheryl Lynn. 1978 to be exact. Even if you don't know this song by the title, I promise you, almost promise you, that if you go to Spotify, YouTube, wherever you listen to music right now and fire up the song, you'll be like, oh, that song. It's funky, it's catchy, it bops. It brings a smile to my face. It's one of those songs that I've put on playlists that I have set aside for days where I need pick-me-ups, a boost in mood, to be uplifted a little bit, because I can't listen to the song and not be happy. It fires me up. Sometimes I will dance around like a fool in my office before a work day if I need a little energy going, a little flow, or I want to shake off some funk or bad energy. I'll just listen to the song a few times. It just sounds like happiness to me. I love it. Those are my music picks today. Anyways, friends, I need to go get set up for the takeover sale that you are about to see on Twitter. Please join me there. 3 to 4 times a week I do sports card sales. I'm excited to show some upcoming videos to you guys that are coming out soon. Thank you so much for hanging out. You guys are the best. Be sure to like and subscribe. Leave a comment below about anything you liked about this video, things you want to see, things you want to hear me talk about. Until then, peace and love.